Welcome back to another episode of Illuminating Information, the podcast where we shine a light on the cutting-edge ideas shaping the way we work and innovate. Today, we're continuing our conversation with our head of Global Key Account Management, Mario Matuschek, about why more and more companies are making the switch to SaaS. In part one of our conversation, Mario helped listeners understand the fundamental differences between an on-prem solution versus a SaaS solution, along with some of the common reasons our customers switch. If you haven't checked out part one, I highly encourage you do so before listening further. On today's episode, we'll be digging deeper into more of those business benefits of making the switch to SaaS, like continuous updates, lower total cost of ownership, and quicker innovations. Now, back to the conversation. Now, you've mentioned this no hidden costs, being able to surface these hidden costs that come with having on-prem versus SaaS. I know we might be repeating a little bit, but really just want to drill down, besides the business benefits of those continuous updates and maybe of the lower total cost of ownership with being able to have better oversight over the budget when it comes to the costs of these data centers. What other major reasons would you highlight when saying or discussing with someone about this shift to SaaS?
So one major thing is for sure the fact that it's not just the release and the continuous updates that we're taking care of, but the entire operations, right? So you are actually using it and you're not maintaining it. So that's definitely one big pillar I see there, right? Another topic that I surely want to mention there is the future-proof setup that you have actually created with a SaaS installation on the end of Mindbreeze. It's, as I said, more flexible in terms of upscaling, allows you to innovate more quickly, and also from a sustainability perspective, because I think this is something we should definitely not neglect at all. It just helps you to reach a lower carbon footprint at one point in your journey along the road on the sustainability front. And for sure, security and building up a trusted environment is something that also is brought along as a benefit on the end of SaaS. Why? Again, referring back to the auditing and the security levels that Mindbreeze and Mindbreeze SaaS is actually adhering to. So just to quickly summarize: operations, future-proof setup, and the secure and trusted environment with all the auditing and security processes and policies in place.
Now, I appreciate you going over the business benefits and why people are trying to make the switch overall in the marketplace. I think one thing that surprises many people is just how easy this transition process actually is. Can you walk us through the three major steps that we see when it comes to shifting from on-prem to SaaS?
Yeah, sure. So actually, to be fair, this is simpler than I have ever thought, right? So initially what you would need to do at the beginning is you create something that we call a snapshot of your current installation. So if you're currently using an on-premise Mindbreeze installation, you have a lot of configuration set up in order for the current solution to be working, right? And what you can do is you can simply just take a picture of that configuration at one point in time. And once you've taken that picture or that snapshot, you can simply take that and install it into your Mindbreeze Inspire SaaS installation. What that means is that the old configuration, everything that you have had working in the past, is immediately available within your SaaS environment at just a fingertip, I would say, or at 2 clicks, if we take the computerized version of that explanation. So that's installing it is step 2, and at the end, what's left is validating and testing to make sure that everything that you have now actually then installed on the SaaS environments in your new SaaS solution is actually replicating what you saw on the on-premise installation, or already maybe being improved compared to the previous installations and the previous solutions. And even though you've actually mentioned 3 steps, and essentially there are 3 steps to actually be really replicating your current on-prem installation in a SaaS environment, I see an additional 4th step, right? And this 4th step, which I see here, is innovate as you go along and drive innovation forward. And this is something that's very easy to be done, very easy to be taken care of. You can do it yourself, and at any of those stages along that process, our professional services team is for sure always very happy to help you with their expertise and to help you along in that carefree migration process from on-prem to SaaS environments.
I really love that last point about innovation, and I think that it's so important to keep that in the forefront of the mind, especially in a digital age. Being idle and being complacent when it comes to AI is a death sentence for many, and I think that's one of the reasons I appreciate especially the switch to SaaS from our Mindbreeze perspective, is we are so forward thinking when it comes to innovation. Now, shifting gears a little bit, one of the things that I've talked about in some of my blog content, and I'm sure you've talked about with some of our customers, is this idea of buy-in from the entire team, especially the executive team, the higher-up team. So I guess for organizations still weighing their options, what's your advice to leaders who are hesitant about making the switch to SaaS from on-prem?
So what our entire key account management team is working on with the customers and offering them is what we call, let's just call it an evaluation workshop or an analysis workshop, where we really gather for evaluation of crucial topics, right? So we're going to evaluate the price point, look at the saving potentials, the cost pressure that they're receiving, looking at their budgets, looking at the possibilities we see. Then definitely, again, evaluating what we could actually remove in terms of burden on the IT end, right? Whether that's resources, whether that's hardware costs. Then we'll also look into how quickly can we get things moving and how scalable should it be in the long term. And for sure, there's also additional topics such as, is data security policies actually met? Are they matching with what Mindbreeze Inspire SaaS can actually bring along? This always brings along a lot of evaluations, a lot of questionnaires that need to be filled out. And that's also something that we would actually very well clarify in such a meeting. And after that, so once this meeting actually has been covered, once all the points have initially been evaluated and brought up on each of the agendas, we usually actually then go in tandem in parallel, work on individual tasks, and then we usually meet for a touch point meeting again, where we then actually clarify how to best proceed now and what the outcome of the evaluation stage actually brought along. So what I want to say here is my advice to any people who are actually currently in this evaluation process is, let us help you on that journey, right? So we don't want you to be on your own in that decision-making process, but we want to help you and provide all the input that you actually need to make a good and well-rooted decision. Meaning that if you make a decision without all the input, you might not take the decision that you actually want to take just for a reason which is not necessary to be there.
Two more questions for you, and then we'll wrap up here. This is one that I think is kind of interesting, and we've alluded to it a little bit during this conversation. But from your perspective, Mario, what excites you the most about the future of SaaS at Mindbreeze?
This is a great question. To be honest, I think that actually very well dates back to my background, which is very technical and very AI focused. I personally love the AI possibilities. So I see AI first, and whenever SaaS is actually mentioned, that's just floating in front of my mind. So when I talk about AI first, I talk about the possibilities with RAG, retrieval augmented generation, the safe use of corporate internal data for generative AI use cases. I see large language models, whether it's the Mindbreeze Inspire SaaS LLM, which is Llama 3.2 that you're taking along, or any other new future custom developments that we're going to see on the horizon in the future to come, or for most the Inside Workplace, which is the new flagship that we're driving across with many customers as of now, which is essentially a digital workplace of the future, your central place of work without having to consult any other tools, relying on the data that's part of one interface, one application that you log into, that you can actually just use for process steps from A to B until the very end. So I think that's a very clear stance. AI first, and all the possibilities you can see with AI is what I excite most about when I look into the SaaS future at Mindbreeze.
Yeah, no, I think the fact that we are so AI forward, but we're AI forward with a clear concept and a clear path in mind is something that really excites me about working at Mindbreeze and just seeing us grow. Lastly, just a question that I like to leave with all of our guests. Is there anything else that you would like to leave with our guests today? Anything that we covered in particular that you wanted to really hammer down on or really give one more explanation to before we sign off?
So generally, I think the major takeaway should be is consider SaaS and look at the possibilities you see with it, right? Weigh all the opportunities, be open for discussions around potential that it brings along, and not just on a cost perspective, but also on the innovation perspective. And just allow yourself to open and broaden the horizon. And ideally, I and my colleagues, we're very happy to help you. And ideally, you you get in touch with us. Ideally, you allow us to help you, and then we see what the journey actually brings along and where we are at in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the conversation, Mario. That's a wrap on today's episode. Once again, Mario, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights on how organizations can future-proof their operations by switching to Mindbreeze SaaS.
It was a pleasure, Johnny. I just wanted to interrupt you here. Thank you for the questions and the interaction. It was a lot of fun.
This was a wonderful conversation because, companies are vying for every competitive inch that they can get. And I really feel like we outlined the concept of switching to SaaS being a clear advantage for companies that are willing to switch and that have that buy-in to switch as well.
For sure.
If you're curious about how your business could benefit from a cloud deployment or want to learn more about those 3 easy steps to migrate, go ahead and head over to our website or get in touch with your Mindbreeze representative. Have a question or topic you'd like us to cover next? Know someone who should be a guest on the show? Let us know, as we would love to hear from you. Stay innovative, stay informed, and as always, keep illuminating information.